The last time I was in Disneyland with this lens, Small World wasn't open. It was still closed, doing its reset back from the holiday version back to the regular season version. I want to see how this lens does on Small World. I thought it would be a really good lens for it because it's got a lot of reach, it's got a fast aperture. It's going to hopefully give me a perspective I haven't seen before. On the Anaheim version of Small World, it really feels like you're shooting up at a lot of the little creepy dolls. But if you have a longer focal length, it seems like you can fill the frame with the target while you're farther away and while that angle is a little less steep. So I want to see how this lens does. It's heavy. It doesn't lock focus and track focus as well as some of my other lenses. It's a workout and a challenge to get good results with this lens, but we're going to try it. Let's see how it goes. It's been a few months since I've shot on a Disney ride with this lens, and I forgot how challenging it is. It really causes you to get sucked into one target. So it's really hard to shoot everything on the ride in one pass with a lens this long. You gotta kind of pick your targets. I recommend if you're gonna try to shoot Disney rides with a very long telephoto lens, before you even use the lens, just ride the ride and just look at all the things on the ride and kind of have an idea of what targets you want to focus on, what subjects you want to prioritize. On this first ride, I was in the back of the boat, so I was able to shoot over people's heads, and I could shoot all kinds of stuff. I could shoot left, I could shoot right, and I could turn around and shoot stuff behind me and get some cool perspectives. But I think I missed a lot of things, so I'm gonna go again. And I'm gonna try a few more compositions. I'm also gonna raise my shutter speed. I shot with my default 1/160, which works for most of my lenses. That is probably a little on the slow side for a lens this long, and this ride is lit well enough where I could double my shutter speed, maybe go up to a 3/20th, maybe a 2/50th, and probably still have a pretty usable ISO and maybe have a few more keepers by canceling out a little bit of motion blur with that faster shutter speed. So gonna bump up the shutter speed, I'm gonna try it again. So this second ride through with a faster shutter speed definitely felt like it gave me more keepers due to there just being less motion blur. It's hard to keep a lens that size and with that much reach steady on a moving boat when you're trying to track subjects that are moving and trying to pivot from subject to subject. It's a challenge, and it's a forearm workout muscling that lens around. This thing is no lightweight, but I think I got some good shots. The ISO still stayed in a reasonable range. There were some where it jacked up into the 5 digits because I was shooting a really dark portion of the ride. Some subjects that were, maybe the face was shaded because they were wearing a hat or they were kind of in the background, and I'm using spot metering, and so the camera selected a really high ISO. But overall, I think 250 to 320 is a good shutter speed range for this ride, and use spot metering and use auto ISO because the light levels are going to change from subject to subject depending on what direction you're facing. And I think it just gives you the best chance of success for the varying lighting conditions. Don't be afraid of your ISO getting a little high. Modern digital cameras are really good at high ISO, and even if they're not, some of the digital noise reduction is really good these days. So don't be afraid to go up to ISO 12,000, ISO 25,000, you're still gonna get some decent results. All right, so now after I've done 2 rides on Small World with this lens, do I recommend this lens for Small World? No, I don't. It's a real challenge. It's heavy, and muscling this much glass and metal around on a ride like that, trying to shoot between people's heads or trying to turn around in your seat and shoot stuff behind you, you run the risk of smacking people in the back of the head if they're in the row behind you, especially when you have this big ass lens hood on the front. I think 150 millimeters, which is 300 effective millimeters when you take into account the crop factor on a micro 4/3 lens. I think on this ride that might be a little bit too much reach for just general all-purpose shooting on the ride. There are a lot of compositions where it's just where the framing is just a little too tight, like in this example of Miguel and Dante from Coco. I can't get both of them in the frame with enough room around them to really crop it in a way that I like. And it's a prime lens. It's a fixed focal length. I can't zoom out. I'm stuck with what the lens gives me. So I think that 75 millimeter lens that I've been shooting with for the last few years is gonna continue to be one of my go-to lenses for this ride. This is just a little too much reach. It's a fun challenge. It's really cool to get some different perspectives, and so it's definitely fun to add some unique shots to my portfolio that I can't get with anything else. But as my go-to lens for this ride, it's not the right one. Well, I hope you enjoyed this quick little experiment, taking way too long of a lens on Small World, and now you can learn from my mistake, and you don't have to do it yourself. I hope you found this interesting. Hope you found it entertaining. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.